Hey folks, we're going to continue working on the combat and exploration artwork here for the book that we're creating, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. So, hey, give me a second here to check my signal. I'll go through my intro spiel, and then we'll get to work here. So, hold on real fast while I wait for my computer to confirm we're up and running. Looks like that is a yes. I've got my scratchy voice on, so obviously I haven't gotten good sleep. Cheers to that. Hold on real quick. Get into that here. And I'll do my intro spiel here in a second, and then we'll get to work for about 100 minutes of fun. Alright, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements. I publish them online. I illustrate them. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past number of years. There are a slew of links in the description down below that show you work that I've produced already. So if you're here for the artwork, if you click into any of those previews down below, amongst them there's probably about 150 different illustrations that we've produced just in that selection alone. You're welcome to peruse and to views as you please. If you are here for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition specifically, so they have 100% free previews. So if you check that stuff out, a lot of it is both DM and player facing, used for meant for both sides of the screen to be made use of. So check this stuff out if you think it's cool. That's kind of what I do here. If you want to support the channel, you can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney here. I always post whenever I'm live, and I post some of the artwork that I produce from the book as a preview. But if you really want to support the growth of the channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications here on YouTube in the future. It's a typical spew of helping grow a channel, and it is immensely appreciated. So, hey, we picked up 2 new followers, so that's fantastic. Thanks a lot for being here, folks. Let's see. So I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and then I publish them online. This is a book cover that we produced. We're at episode 220 now, so this was back around episode 15. So you can go back in the way back here, my playlist, to check out the creation of this book cover. Mine's off a little bit. Sorry. So book cover, episode 15, episode 220 now. We create a supplement, we illustrate it, and then we publish it. So here we had an idea about deepening the relevant mechanics and basic physics of space for Spelljammer Combat and Exploration, the Spelljammer box set that Wizards of the Coast released last year. They presented the 2nd edition setting again here using 5e rules, but they forgot the rules. So we need to have some basic physics that we add to limitless travel and infinite space with nearly infinite speed. So there's interactions there, like what happens if I'm moving 100 million miles per day and I'm trying to explore something that's moving 1 million miles. So like how do you compensate for that sort of stuff? The rules that the DM that Wizards has provided actually don't allow you to do something like that. So it breaks down physics weird that you're either going 100 million miles per day, which is 10,000 miles per round, or you're going 30 feet per round. One speed or the other. There's nothing in between. Well, there's about 1,000 magnitude in between the 5 foot. There's actually a 10,000 scale magnitude from 5 feet to 100 million miles per day. So from 5 feet to 10,000 miles goes 5 feet. It's a 5 foot scale, 50 foot, 500 foot. 500 times 10 is 5,000, which is a mile. And then from 1 mile to 10 miles to 100 miles to 1,000 miles to 10,000 miles. So 5, 50, 500, 5,000, 10 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles. That's a count of 8. So if I'm starting here it goes up in 7 magnitudes, from 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000. 10,000, sorry. From 5, you start at 5, so then 10 scales of magnitude is 1, 10, 100, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000 miles, and then 550. You can tell I'm stupid today because math bad. We start at 550, 500, a mile, 10 miles, thank you, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles. So that's 7 scales times 10, so that's 10,000 times the scale. Sorry, I had to walk through that math real quick. 10,000 miles per day, 10,000 miles per round scales to 100,000 miles, 10,000 miles to 100,000 miles, to 1 million, 10,000 miles to 100,000 to a million to 10 million to 100 million. So it goes from 10,000 to 100 million miles per day. So scale. Okay, great. So sorry, thinking that through here real quick. We actually have tables down in here that talk about movement scaling here per round. This is 5 foot square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It goes from 5 foot squares to 50 foot squares to 500 foot squares to 1 mile squares to 10 mile squares. Thank you, to 1,000 mile squares per round. And then if we go down to per round, it goes to 10,000 miles. So that's per square. So per square is per round. So maximum distance per round is 10,000 miles. Per minute is 100,000 miles. Per 10 minutes is 1 million miles. If you multiply 10 minutes times 2, it's roughly 100 minutes, which is roughly 2 hours. So 1 million miles to 10 million miles from 2 hours to a day is roughly 20 miles. 2 hours times 10 is 20 hours, which is roughly 1 mile. 1 day is 100 million miles. So bump, 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 scale up magnitude, bump, 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 scale up magnitude. There you go. 10,000 miles per round is broken down to 10 squares at the 1,000 miles. So that's where our connection is there. Sorry, I'm tired and math is derpy right now. So don't blame the clumsiness of this presentation on the system. Blame it on the guy who's tired. So we create this system. We put in all this, all these mechanics for like scaling, pursuits, relative distance, relative speed, the physics behind the planetary movements. We implement all these things and we play test all that stuff for combat and exploration. It comes out feeling good in the play testing, then we write it all up. So after we're done writing this all up, we hand it off to an editor who then passes it back to us so we can break it up across the pages so that it looks good and the information is organized by sections. And then when we have that completed, we can come into here to a single page. We extract that page as a PDF. We take that PDF, we put it into Photoshop, pilot rules, pilot checks, pilot actions, pilot rules, pilot checks, pilot actions. There you go. So we illustrate the page. And when we're done with all the illustrations, we then come back and we drop it actually into the Word document. We seal the Word document into a PDF, and then we publish it online for you guys to play with an extensive preview, just like you can see with all the books that we have described down below. These all have extensive previews: Spell, Point Warlocks, Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, Theurgy, and the 5-color mana spell point variant rules. This is just a taste of some of the stuff that I've built on the DMsGuild over the past few years, so check it out. So, without any further ado, you guys are here for the artwork, not for the pitch. So, what are we doing right now? We are taking, well, if we go back here to the cover, we have the cover here, and then we have this railing here of fading from white to black. Currently, we are looking at doing the trim and borders for the border art for the book to help frame everything and to give us something to blend space scenes into the margin of the document, so everything is kind of folding together as the same piece. So right now what we're doing is we are going through the process of building the border art, and once the border art is built, we'll be able to go back through the document and make sure all the backgrounds that we're doing fade into wherever that border art is on the illustration, so that it looks, so it's seamless, so that the artwork blends into the border that we're building, so it becomes a cohesive piece. So let's go into our frames. This is where we're at right now with frames, and this is the border that we have for the frames, but this is the frames that we're painting in. So what I want to do is I want to grab, conceal that. I want to grab art from, let's go to, let's go to one of the previous chapters that we finished. Production, interior art. Let's go to done. Let's go to the hazards section and see if there's any spacescapes that look good to us offhand. Maybe not this one. Oh, not this chapter. All right. Hazards is pretty short and sweet. Let's get rid of that. Equals no. Oh, maybe we go to Topola's Tower again. Let's go to Topola's Tower. And equipment, hazards, production, locks. The Theurgy hunt will probably have some good stuff for us. Waiting for this map to pop open. There we go. So let's see. Let's get I need. Oh, I don't have a spacescape in the background. This is an asteroid map. Where you can navigate ships through for combat. If we get rid of the color, we provide both a color and a black and white version. You can see here's how the map progresses, ships moving through it. Yeah, we still have work to do on this one. But this is the wrong map for us to reference stars because we don't have any stars in here to reference. So let's see what we can do. Looks like Mama Hunt is what we need. This should yield. There we go. There's plenty of starscape. Let's see. Let's go with so here's our space background. Let's get rid of our number cues. Let's grab how can we do this? Let's grab a chunk like this. This. I'm going to copy like that. I'm going to paste like this. This might work out. Mega Driver. So far, so good. So what? Let's see. If I just do a raw, sorry, I'm looking at positioning right now. How we want to do this. No, wrong button. Maybe we flip this one if we transform. Nope, wrong button. We're exploring stuff here, folks. This is what we're doing today. I feel like that should be like that. All right, cool. It's actually. Oh, wait, yeah. We should probably not have that on top. We should probably have that on top. This is the way. Let's go with here, and then select inverse, and then mask and mask. Select inverse, delete that mask, build a new mask. There we go. That makes the stars all disappear. Bruh. And then let's see, we want to have, oh, good point. We wanted to have something that goes along the bottom. So we need to we actually need to do it this way. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, let's get rid of this too. Delete those layers. Take this one, put it back in. Do it more like this. Let's go select inverse, and then this we go with pop. There you go. There we go. We carve that away there. And then let's see, how do we want to, we can do a second fade. Let's go with like that. There we go. That feels pretty good. I'm just trying to smooth out the transition here so it feels natural. And then there's the issue of whether I like it or not. There's a lot of density at the bottom of the page. It's balance wise, it's really kind of heavy. So let's how do we remove that? Need to keep that background in there because that background keeps us from having any kind of trim issues. Also acknowledging it's not fully necessary. Maybe I can drop the opacity on that and preserve. Yeah, that feels better. Good. Okay, so how do I feel about it? Like just in general. There's a lot of stars that are just dotting along the edge here. I'm like, what if I were to just increase the scale here by like just a touch? That looks pretty good. Like where the stars are lining up. Like where those are lining up. Fades out here, so that's okay. Am I okay with this? Well, if we stick with this, what we'll have then is a bunch of buttons. That's a square, sir. Oh my god. Chromados, oh my god. 200 pixels, okay. Okay, so what do we actually need? We have equipment and ships. Let's be honest, that's just going to be ships. And then we have combat. And then we have, after combat is scroll down through all the stuff. Containing crew, spell casting. We get through all the spell casting, and then exploration. And once we're done with exploration, we get into ship hazards. Fire, map, book, ballista, boat. Then after hazards is the creature menagerie. Creatures, maybe like scaver. And then random, we have assistant, planet and moon. And then from systems we have the Lazoraxis, LOX. Starmoth. And Starmoth is the sign of the Zoraxians. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eight actual chapters. Well, 6 chapters and 2 appendix. So 8. Let's not merge those down, but instead let's duplicate those layers. Let's drop the opacity on them so we can see what we're doing as well. Duplicate these layers and start pushing them across the page. These are going to be a little short, it would seem. There's 8 and that's 4. We're going to fall shy. Exploration, instead of a map, that could be a telescope, maybe. Maybe compass and pen. Map. Telescope. And flame. Fireworks. Okay, let's play this out. Let's see what actually happens here. Because I could take it combat, and then I could also have rolls and squadrons. But then I have weapons, rolls, squadrons, and combat movement. Like that's the we'll just keep it simple as I don't know. Maybe we'll keep it simple like that. Let's get that one. And let's grab these 4 and duplicate all those and push these across the page. Oh, it's looking pretty good. Oof, that's super close. Not bad. Oh, within pixels. How many pixels am I off? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5. So we can scoot it 2. 1. There we go. 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We could then 1, 2, get out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 2 more. Combat. What rolls and squadrons. Not immediately hip with that. Table of content. TOC. Hamburger. Squadrons, ships, combat, squadrons, rolls. do I want something extra there? Where's a good natural breaking point? Spell casting. Squadrons and fleets. And that's using a 24-point font. We got a ship rolls. That should also be a 24-point font. Sure is. Combat as a general group is so easy to resolve because it's just a single weapon as a 28. Jeez. And what? Maps and movement here is 24? Sure is. Alright, so combat is a major chapter. Maybe I just get rid of... Yeah, I can just get rid of that. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we got 9 marks we need, which means we got to get rid of one of them, and the one I choose is you. See, that looks insufficient. Grab a sip of water here. This is why we get paid the big bucks. Okay. So we know from previous endeavors. Click here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Holy shit, 16. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's the last one. So 16 pixels from the edge here, and that means it needs to be 16 pixels from the edge over here. It's 250 pixels. Let's do it like this. Let's go. All right, take another sip of coffee. While we suss and fight our way through this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. God, I was only 1 pixel off. That's pretty freaking good, Kearney. Nice job. There, 16. And then we want to select inverse. Copy file, new. If I open a new one, it is 226 pixels wide from the edge. So come on, baby. 226 divided by 8 equals 28.25. So we shunt the whole thing 1 pixel in, and we scoot each circle 28 pixels apart. Whew, okay. That's a tall order. But we only have to do it once. You only have to do it once. So we can bump, 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 bump. That leaves us 2. So we bump it 2 pixels. One, 2. And then we open up 28 pixels in between these two things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. There. That should be sufficient. Get rid of all those. Grab both of these. And now we should be fine to duplicate these. Go through the same effect again. Duplicate those layers. These circles are just placeholders. We can potentially violate this, the space. One, 2, 3. Duplicate those layers. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, God, that is looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Duplicate those layers. The further back we scroll, the faster the dots move. It's just, honestly, that's kind of what got us thinking about pacing and scale of movement, is the way that Photoshop moves. Like each tap, check this out. Okay, so this is a great analogy. If I zoom in all the way to the minimum pixel scale, or like the 5-foot scale, right? Every time I tap my arrow key, it moves the entire structure 1 square, right? There. That's perfect there. Now if I scale out to say here, and I move I hit the arrow key once. Alright, that was still 1 pixel, but let's push back to, like, say, here. I'm trying to prove a point. There. I pressed the left arrow key once, and it moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It moved 5 pixels. At this scale, it only moves 1 pixel. At this scale, the arrow key moves 5 pixels. If I were to be out to here, and I hit the arrow key once, and I zoom back in, it moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It moved 14 pixels at that scale. our combat mechanics work the same way, that the closer in you are to an object, each square of movement is less space, is less distance actually moved, because you're moving at a slower speed. That means that each movement that you make has less of a change in the macro scale, because you're zooming in to pay closer attention to how you're specifically navigating your ship. You zoom out like this, you make a turn, you make a move, you're going to move a lot further, you're going to turn a lot more, because the space and the distance is less emphasized, it's more rough. So this is operating that same way. I think that's an awesome. Now, and look at that shit all lining up. Very good. So we'll hit our marker here again real quick. No. Transform selection. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One outside the box. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then, where'd you go? There you are. One outside the box. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And it was, hey, how you doing? We're Netico, and we got somebody new, and that is Robin Kid. Hey, what up? We're building page margin art for the Combat and Exploration book. If you were here at the beginning of the stream, or if you've been around before, you know we've got a 108-page document here of Spelljammer. Spelljammer is a setting in D&D. Kid, I don't know if you're here because of D&D or artwork, but we do them both here. I make D&D books, I then illustrate them, and then I make them into a PDF and I publish them online. If you're a D&D enthusiast, there's a bunch of books in the description down below that have extensive previews, so you can see the kind of work that I produce in general, and this is in the middle of creating another one of those books. So we're right now trying to suss out and make sure all these, so this is a navigation bar that we're building right now. So when the PDF is complete, here I'll show you. This is a relevant example, not just me advertising stuff, I swear. Even if I was, welcome to my channel. So here's the 5-color mana spell point variant rules book that I created. Here's a bundle of books. We'll go into this one. This is Tap and Tap Burn, 5-color mana spell point variant rule core mechanics. Here's the book cover for those that asked. So we create book covers here. Now, on Saturday, I'm doing a commission for some people that are making a role-playing game adventure. I got commissioned to do the book covers, so if you like and subscribe, you can check me out on Saturdays to see how that comes along. But okay, great. Let's look at here we go. Sources of Magic. Our allied unit variant rules. Let's go to Sources of Magic, Chapter 8. Right. So here we have navigation buttons. If I click on this button, it takes us back to the table of contents. If I click on the 5-color character classes, again, that takes me back to the table of contents. Over here, we have a little chart thing. But if we click on that, it takes us to the very back of the book, where we have a mana flow chart. So we can create navigation buttons, and we bind it into PDFs. We can hyperlink all. I can put basically. I paint this page. I paint this control panel up here, and then in the Word document, I create a transparent image, and then I cause that image to be a clickable link that will take me someplace inside of the document, like here. So when we're building our navigation bar here at the bottom, each one of these bars. Each one of these circles can become buttons. So I can create icons here for each of the We have table of contents as the first button. And then we have 8 chapters that we can build into 8 icons that can then take people back to the beginning of each section. And once I have each section, since there's space next to each of them, I can actually put the navigation button that we create here, the icon, the navigation icon, I can put it next to the chapter title. Or I can put it up here in the corner so that when they click on this button, it takes them to this icon here. So you can navigate the document without having to use a table of contents if you wanted to, simply by clicking on it. Like if you're on your tablet, you can click on it so you can bounce around inside of the document more quickly. Thanks. Cool book cover. Thank you. And here is the book cover. Let's see. Here is the... Nope. That's a map that we built. I should probably put this back together. Buttons here. Here's a map we built for, if you're familiar with Light of Xeraxis, the Spelljammer adventure that Wizards of the Coast produced. At some point, you go visit somebody in at an asteroid, or that has a tower on an asteroid. Her name is Topola. Each one of these squares is 50 feet. Topola's tower is about 100 feet in height, so that means it occupies a 100-foot space on the map. And during this encounter, Topola can provide you with information that makes it easier for you to get to your next destination more quickly if you're willing to help her. I mean, she's helping you. She asks for a favor in return. Your team says yes. Amongst these asteroids, there are space sharks called scavers. At each one of these points, there's a different site and thing to explore. Like over here, there's a bunch of mollyhawk nests that are empty. Mollyhawks are like seagulls. So there's a bunch of gull nests that are empty. I know these are really big nests, they're just representations, but this is a 50-foot scale map, so each square is 50 feet. Like over here is a warm, this rock stays unnaturally warm. Sharks like to float and sleep over it sometimes. So like at each of these different locations is a different possible location where you'll find space sharks that you can kill for Topola to help make sure that like she can go to these different areas to farm. Like over here, there's a bunch of mollusks. There's schools of fish that feed over here, and you can see that there's moss collecting on the rocks here. So each of these different locations are interesting to space sharks. So your job is to use your orrery scanner, which is like a space radar system. It'll pick up when sharks are coming and going from this asteroid belt to feed or do whatever it is that they want. So you can track them inside of there, and when a shark pings a signal, your team can take a fighter skiff, which we are illustrating here. Like for instance, this is a 20-foot skiff that you can have loaded up with a ballista weapon, so you can go shark hunting, basically. Kill off a couple sharks. Topola will be happy that you've thinned the herd. She'll then provide you with the stuff that you need. So when DM runs this, it's 6 locations. The DM can just roll a random die, a d6, to determine which area sharks are taking interest in. That pings on the radar for the heroes. They can then go and engage the sharks. If the sharks see you coming, the DM can roll a d8. On a 1 and an 8, the shark flees the system, and then you can potentially chase it down, or it'll get away. But otherwise, maybe like 1d, it's 1d6 for which location it changes to, and on a 7 and an 8, if it sees you coming, it runs away. So a DM starts with a d8 to see where it's a d6 to where it's at, and then once you move, you could spook it, and then you have to go back and wait for another one to show up. So that's basically how it works. Each location has different points of interest that are all detailed in the Light of Xeraxis appendix. The last 20 pages of this document is basically how do you use these combat mechanics to have fun as an adventure in space, and this is one example of that. Sharks can move 1,000,000 miles per day, which slows down to about 1,000 miles per round. But for them to be able to navigate through this asteroid field and to eat fish that float naturally inside this asteroid field, that shark has to slow from 1,000 miles per round to basically 100 feet per per round to be able to navigate successfully 1 square, 2 square, 1 square, 2 square, 1 square, 2 square, to be able to navigate through these asteroids without banging its nose against them. It has to slow down to a speed where it can navigate successfully through these asteroids without hurting itself, just like you have to slow your ship down slow enough to be able to navigate amongst these asteroids to not wreck your ship either. So at the 50-foot scale, you can skim across the top or the bottom of the asteroids until you catch sight of a shark that will occupy one of these squares. You can then enter the square, that 50-foot square that the shark is also occupying, and then engage in it in melee combat if you want, or if you can get if it's at the 50-foot scale, it's gonna, like, if it's here and you're here, it's gonna have cover from those asteroids. So you have to catch up and enter the space of the shark to then be able to engage in it on combat before it runs away. So you have to kind of bait it out and then use your movement and your timing with its movement and timing to get to it. So, and then you attack it and you kill it because you have a ballista, for God's sake. So you're going to win that fight. It's just a matter of, can you kill it before it gets away? And you need to bring back some shark heads so that Topolo can make you shark stew that night. Hey, there's comments down here. Netico, what up? Been doing some fan-made character designs for the past couple days for Awesome Souls Tamer. Hey, that's fantastic. I've got 4 so far drawn, and I'm thinking I'll keep going until I've covered all the types. That's cool, man. Way to focus on something. That's I think that's a lot of fun. The first thing that I created on the DMsGuild was mana symbols, which yeah, mana symbols like this. Air, earth, fire, and water. And then, like, here's red, green, and blue. Creating icons like this was the first thing that I did on the DMsGuild. It was like the very first release. I know that you have the stunt pilot that you released, which I want to look at again when I finish this project, because I remember you play tested your stunt pilot with the Spelljammer thing that we're building here, and that actually worked really well. So that's super cool. But yeah, I started small and started building up, so it's really fun to be able to find little things to focus on, to like picking a pet project like that's a really cool thing to do, man. I dig it. All right, so that's the spiel. So that's Topolo's tower. That's how that works. That's how scale works, and that's where we grabbed the background that we're using. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that up. Get rid of that. Nope. Get back into this. So we got our 9 icons. We got our TOC, ships, combat, spellcasting, exploration, hazards, creatures, systems, and locks. So locks is LOX, light is Araxis. So we're going to stitch up those circles for now. We don't necessarily need to keep those circles in place, but the icons that we build need to fit inside of those circles. So sip of coffee at our 20-minute mark. I got a 20-minute timer, so every time that pops, it makes me know that I need to make sure I keep moving on. So I just spent a little time explaining our system to Robin Kitt, who's new to the channel. Welcome to the mix. I'm here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday in the mornings like this. I have my morning coffee stream, which I paint Spelljammer art on Monday, tonight, actually. You can tune back in. And on Thursdays, I do Eberron art for the Eberron adventure that we're publishing. And then on Saturday, I do commissions and personal projects. And right now, I've been commissioned to make a book cover for an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons. So you can check that out if you want, but otherwise we're just going to keep sketching. So TOC, yeah, because it's a black background, we should be using a white. Should be using white. So here, this is sloppy for now, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh god, that's cheeky. Let's go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Is that volume okay on that music, or is that impeding my ability to speak with you guys? I don't want it to be too distracting, but I also like hearing it. So I'm always waging a war between audibility and stream convenience. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. God, you're so cheeky. Like, that's a table of content icon, right? Maybe I will keep the circle just for fun. For funsies, so it builds a border, a defined border. But then we would want to drop that down like that. And then like ships and equipment. Like, I haven't drawn enough boats in my time. Just rough doodles. Ah, that square's way too big. The boat. And then for combat, we want a ballista. We already have a ballista icon. Something like that. And then for spell casting, what are we going to do for spell casting? Maybe we can do the sorcerer thing. I spy with my eyes something that begins with text. Hey, what's up? What really saddens me is that I had a real life friend point out that I could have done like a Tony Hawk scoring bonus mechanics for the extreme subclass of the extract, but at this point it's too... you can always go back and change things if you want. It's a PDF. It's not like it's in print. Let's make it an option. I mean, you could just, if you wanted to, you could just make like a small... like a reprint or redesign and release it as a PDF promotional, like a pay what you want promotional piece that you can then bundle with the actual product. Like if you make the stunt class, like if it's like $4, then you can make the PDF $1, and if you bundle the two together, you can make the whole thing $4. And then that way they're getting a 20% discount because the PDF is $1. And the book is $4. That's a total of $5. But when you bundle them together, you reduce the cost of the PDF. You leave the PDF $1, and then you make the actual stunt class $3. So $1 from the PDF and $3 from the book equals $4. But if they pick up the PDF for free, then they aren't paying that dollar. So that $4 book becomes a $3 book, so they're actually only paying 75% of the value. So when you bundle the two things together, it looks like they're getting a discount, but when they actually purchase, they're getting even more of a discount than what you advertised. So but a lot of times they will go ahead and buy the PDF anyway. Like just as an example here, if we go back to my spell point variant rules, just as an example here. To show you the process. So this is a bundle of books, right? And this bundle is a total of $29.82, right? So there's 1 book, 2 books, 3 books, 4 books, 5 books, 6 books, 7 books in this bundle. This one is free. It's a pay what you want. This one is also pay what you want. And this one is pay what you want. So you can see here it's pay what you want. I asked for $2. You don't have to. But it's copper anyway. This is just like notes. This was preliminary notes about the system that I was in development before I even had my font system formatted. It was just ideas about color mana in general. So I made it a pay what you want. But enough people have purchased it already to be nearly a silver seller. Here's the revised 5 color mana spell list. Again, another free product that just provides a list of how color works in D&D and how each spell is allocated to those colors. And this is a revised list that that I've updated a couple times. As we've gone along, I've seen new answers to how colors should work, so I keep refining it because it's a PDF. I can keep changing it. People don't have to pay for this if they don't want to, but so far it's also nearly 100 sales. And then Point Warlocks, it's Electrum. This thing's 35 sales away from being a gold bestseller. It's got about 470 sales so far. It's completely voluntary to buy this if you want or not. But it folds all into... So if you buy all of these books at face value, it would be $30. But I bundle them all together, so it's only $19. So you save $10 off the top. So it's about a 35% discount. But on top of that, you could buy these and pay $0 here, $0 here, and $0 here by grabbing them for free. And then if we go down here, you see this one's valued at 50 cents. This one's valued in the bundle. It's valued at $1, so that's $1.50. And this is also $1, so that's $2.50. So if you picked up all 3 of these things for free and then bought the bundle, you would further shave an additional $2.50 off the cost. So this would become a $16.50 bundle. So whenever somebody comes through and buys my bundle and I see that I'm getting paid $16.50 for the whole sale, I know that someone came through and picked up all 3 of these things for free so they can come back and buy the full bundle. But ironically, a lot of times I just see people buy this for $19. So they just chip in the extra $2.50 because they just think it's worth it. So many people have thought it was worth it that this is nearly a gold sale. So it's a good marketing strategy. I can't emphasize that enough for people that are into this stuff. Make the thing and then make a bunch of things that are less expensive and free, so that it all folds together into a big bundle of this is all the crap that you get. This is the amount of support that I've provided for this product. This is a living document that continues to evolve. Like that entire set of stuff that I just showed you here. When one D&D gets published, I'm going to go through. I'm going to redo all of these. It'll be a pain in the ass to do it, but I'm going to do that. So you'll be able to pick up all this stuff together. Here's this, and then scroll down here. Yeah, so here's a bunch of books that I've made. Anyway, that's talk. That's some techie talk. So yeah, if you want to change things, you can. You can offer it as like a reskinned or like a special cover, and just make it a PDF as a coupon. It's super easy, and it gets sales. It gets sales, man. It gets sales. So worth considering. That's why I like making all my stuff 100% free preview. Because once I start self-referencing my own works inside of these bundles, it's nice to be able to show people what it is. Because leaning your chin into getting punched in the face, like you could take all this stuff for free, but I find that people don't. Just for the record, that Point Warlocks book that's nearly gold sale, it's a 50% sale ratio. Most books that are pay what you want on the DMsGuild have a 5% sales ratio. Like 1 out of 20 people that pick it up buy it. Mine, 1 out of 2 people that pick up Point Warlocks buy it. Like spend actual money instead of spending it for free. Because either they value it unto itself, so even though they could get it for free, they don't, because I already gave them the entire thing to look at, and they're like, this is actually good, I'm going to give you money. Or they look at it, and then they look at a couple of the other books, and they decide the whole thing is worth it. And then they buy the entire bundle, lock, stock, and barrel, paying for everything even though they can get it for free. They can choose to do that, or they can choose to get stuff for free. Their choice. But 50% of the people that even just look at Point Warlocks purchase it. It's a good... That's what you call a loss leader. That's paid me thousands of dollars because of the cost of those bundles overall. Totally worth exploring. What was the rest of the things we're doing? Exploration. That's right. Spellcasting and then exploration. Like, we could do maybe like... like a scroll. Generic scroll things. These are boring icons that should be pretty intuitive to anyone that's involved in fantasy stuff or whatever. Something like that. And then hazards. Oh, hazards can just be a fire. What's more hazardous than fire in space? There are no rules in 5th edition about catching things on fire. There are only rules about taking fire damage while you are occupying the space of fire. But most spells that cause fire damage don't affect items. There's objects and then there's creatures. And a spell specifies if it can damage a creature or if it can damage objects. So there's technically, and when you take damage from fire as an object, according to 5th edition, you take some damage and then you're done. There you go. So there are no actual rules about the risks of catching something on, like starting a fire. A fire. Not fire damage, but a fire. So we had to build mechanics on catching and spreading fire aboard a ship, which is a fun little mini game that you can play. Oh boy, I get to play Don't Lose My Ship. Basically, every time your ship takes damage, it increases the amount of smoke. So we have rules about smoke. Causing long-term, poisoning your air supply. Like, these are just basic physics things that don't exist inside of 5e because they're difficult to produce. Like, you have to worry about damage over time and distance. So you have to worry about how much damage are you causing an object, and as the fire spreads or contracts, does it deal more or less damage to the object that's on fire? And how long does it take for the fire to naturally go out versus you putting it out? Like, that's 3 pages worth of mechanics. Like 1,500 words I had to devote specifically to the language about catching shit on fire and putting it out again. It's insane. Figuring out the physics behind crap like that. And then codifying it into a game system that, because it's a game, makes it fun to do. Like, that's difficult work. Not that anyone gives a shit. No one cares how difficult your project is. All they care about are the end results good. They don't care how long it took. They don't care how much effort you put into it. They don't care how hard you worked on it. All they give a crap about is it fun? Do I want to use it? Like, a lot of people, kind of new people, lose sight of, amateurs lose sight of the fact that no one cares how hard you worked. If you want to get paid, you're going to have to work hard. It's assumed. If you didn't work hard, it's because you're so good that you can now produce content that people are willing to pay for without effort. You don't hear people that have been around making comic books for years saying, this comic book was hard to make, please buy it. They're like, no, this comic book is awesome. It's another one that's available. You love my work, here you go. Like, they don't bitch about how much effort it took. And the more you make these things, the less effort it takes. I begroaned this project because it's 110 pages. The largest project I had made previous to this was 75 pages, and 30 of those pages was just charts. So this is by far the most robust document that I've ever built, which isn't a please give me money because of that. It's this is how strong I've gotten as a content producer. I don't need to tell you how difficult this thing was. When you look at it, you're going to see the effort that was put into it. It's self-evident. I don't have to call out this is difficult work. Well, I mean, I'm up to episode 220 of making this thing. You can watch and see how difficult it is to make these things. But that's the intent of this channel, is to demonstrate to folks how freaking difficult it is and how much work goes into making PDFs in the first place. As sort of a love note to tip your wait staff. You know, people spend a stupid amount of time building these things, and I don't think the RPG community really appreciates how much effort that goes into it. So how do you tell people I spent a lot of time and effort on this without telling them I spent a lot of time and effort on this? So I can make like a Kandori here or something like that. But yeah, this whole stream is kind of a love note to all those kids out there that say, I worked really hard on making this. Will you please put it on your refrigerator wall? I'm here to tell you, kid, if you didn't put any effort into it, it's going to show. And if you're telling me that's the best that you got, I can show you a few places where you need to try harder. Not trying to be a hater here. Just trying to be real. No one's going to celebrate your effort, Timmy. They only want results. And the faster you can wrap your head around that, the sooner you're going to get serious about taking your life in a direction you want to go. Yup, 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 yup. Wop, 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 wop. Wop, 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 yup. Something like that. Anyway, we're just sketching right now, so screw it. I was a beluga in a past life. See, icons. We're making icons along the bottom, so anytime you can just click on one of these and go to the appropriate chapter. Yup, 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 yup. I see that I need to actually make some more progress in the Lancer supplement. Nice. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a bunch of fires and a bunch of irons in the fire. It helps keep things fresh, I find. Here, here, here. Burp, burp, burp. Where are we at? Okay, this is our last 20 minutes. System generator, and then Lazaraxis is just going to use the Zaraxian Imperial symbol, which is just a star moth. There, those are icons. They are crappy icons as they are. But that's what we're doing right now. So we have our icons along the base. I like how that sits. I'm feeling like maybe the what I want to do. is like this. If you're on the chapter that you're the page that you're on, the chapter that you're in. Oops. So when you're looking at the thing, all the icons are white, but the chapter that you're in, I want to be black down here, because then you're on the actual page. So if like we're on the table of contents, like if we were in the, come over here, black, combat equals nip blip. Chips and blips. Let's merge that down. Like that. I think you already get what I'm talking about, but I'm just doing this anyway. Oops, I do need to do that. Burp. Just to get my point across. Here. Get rid of that. Here. Copy. Paste. Highlight here, black as night. There. So icons, when you click into the combat chapter icon, bloop, it turns black and it will take you to this page. So at the bottom of this page, the combat page, it'll have the icons lined up down here, and the combat will be black. If you click over into the table of contents, the contents icon will turn black. This one will be back to white. So you always know which chapter you're in, because one of these icons will be blackened as opposed to white, which is why I do need to have the color bubble, the gray bubble behind them, to help continue defining their space, but also so you can see the black icon in the bubble standing out from the space behind it. So that's important. But then on top of that, whoa, let's use, my mouse does weird stuff, but my art pen stays on point with a smooth zoom function. I'm thinking that this black border down here is making it too heavy. Like I feel like it's imbalancing the page. So let's just flip through some pages here to see how stuff looks in general, shall we? Well, that's a hot mess, because that's a painting I haven't finished yet. But actually, that's not a bad one to play with. Let's hide the references so we can see how this thing is looking. See, because I have the fade up here, it just naturally fades into the scene, and then I can fade away the top edge up here a little bit more so it fades in. But this is what I was wanting to do. I can do a fade here so that the background of the image is just naturally folding into the value of the border that we have. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I had always wanted to do. So that's working out. That's working out pretty nicely along there. But then I can have this. Now I can have this like spill out into the margins a little bit, and it won't feel too weird because I already have this color marker going on in the margins. So looking at this again, this being the cover, that doesn't feel imbalanced at all. Oof. This is obviously off track. I'm going to have to push all of this up a little bit, seeing how that's breaking frame. What I'll be able to do is there. Rest of this is lining up pretty nicely. Very good. Very, very good. But yeah, I'd have to fix that. But I need to fix that anyway, so fuck off. There. But that does pinch, doesn't it? I think I want some breathing. Is that too tight? That might be too tight. I might have to broaden the border a little bit, to narrow the border so there's more breathing room around it. It just feels a little oppressive. But what if I... Let's continue through the document just to see if it balances well or not. Shall we? We'll stitch this one shut. And then here's combat here. I like it. See, I can have this smooth into there. I like that. But this is breaking border here. Woof. Yep, I'm going to have to check on that. This is still a work in progress here. I'm trying to check to see if the bottom of this feels too heavy compared to the other things that we've done. I know that everything's still a rough draft, but still, I'm just trying to verify. And if I do it this dark, I definitely need to make sure that we're attending to these margins a little bit. So like I can do a gradient fade from this dark here and fade it out to the same value over here, so it smoothly transitions from the border into the grid, which is the aesthetic that we're trying to achieve here. Like I was thinking about putting grid lines like, oh God, what's going on down over here? Wow, that's way the fuck off. I have to fix that. There's clearly, once I put these, I should probably drop these borders into the Word. I need to finish these borders so I can get them into the Word document so I can make sure all the text is sitting pretty in the actual Word document. You can see all the white space that I have here right now, but that's going to have to go. So once I complete this this border that we're working on, I'll import it as a background. Basically like a vectorized background that'll sit behind the page. And I'll have the ability to have anywhere from 100% to 0% opacity. So I can set the opacity that I like here. Like this is 100% opacity right now, but I might decide I want to fade it down to like 50%. That's what we're working on right now. We're looking to see errors in text aside. We'll fix all that crap when we import it into the Word document proper. But right now, we're just playing with space to see if this stuff is balanced or not. Like we'll make this, we'll get this text box out to the actual edge. That's an easy fix once we have these things in place. But God, look how perfectly that gradient fits. That's so fucking perfect. Like very minimal, like this is very, very minimal difference. Oh, that's gorgeous. So gorgeous. I love it. Lines up so nicely. There'll be illustrations here eventually. Yeah, these little carrots that will be going here. I think I need to have like another 10 pixels worth of margin. I think that might be the way we need to do this. Ugh, this guy's off margin. How's that happening? Like this could be... This is just human error that gets fixed along the way. It's part of the process. It's all part of the process. We push it up to here. There. See, now the text is parallel and it's on the edge as it should be, but it's lining up. The text now lines up. So that was just me being stupid. But that's what I get to fix when I go into the document. We'll fix all this stuff. But I'm still thinking this stuff is too too close here, and I don't like how close it gets down here. I think I'm okay with that margin, so I need this amount. I need this amount of margin. How much is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Interesting. Probably 24, like a 24 pixel difference. That's probably going to be okay. Maybe make it 25 just to be thorough. Bulb, there's your pixels, and they disappear. All right, work in progress. Like I can just have space bleed into this space for this pursuit illustration. I can just have all this space bleed into that, and then have the ships flying through that space, literally. Plans within plans, Paul. I'm liking it overall. I can get pushed out to the edge. Nitpicking. I'm thinking nitpicks. So I'm going to want to keep this border as is so I can make sure everything is pushing up against it the way that it's supposed to. And then I can come back and I can trim it away so that there's a wider pixel width. So this is going to be a two-step process, it seems, to make sure things line up and then to make sure it looks good. It's like this illustration here. See, you can see that the space is starting to melt away. I can continue that melting process here into the edge, so that this space in the background melts away into the background. So you got space here that melts away into astral over here, and then you got these. Well, this is about hiding and ambushing ships. So that's what that illustration is a work in progress about. Back to here. I don't. Again, we're going through a process here of making sure we like how things sit. So now that we've gone through that process, now that we've gone through all that crap, let's take the entirety of the frames and let's drop it to 75% and see how does that feel. Icons stand out a lot better. And now we got to go through all the pages again. You know, if I did a fade from the edge here to here, so that this is darker and this fades out more, that could work. That feels better. That is what it is. Yeah, this isn't. It's not overwhelming the gray boxes anymore, so I like that. Huh. I'm not sure if this is interesting content for anyone else, but this is literally the job. This is how we do it. So I wanted to show everybody how we actually do this stuff, how it gets done. So I felt it important to do this. I like that because these are almost the exact same value now. Oh, God, that feels pretty good. That feels pretty good to do that. I'm liking how nicely so many elements in this piece are lining up in value like that. Yeah. Because now these circles are just about the exact same value as this. So let's do that, and then that. Bah! I am completely wrong. Look at that jump in difference. It feels the same, but obviously they're not. All right, well, then I'm just going to eat some crow there and shut up. Yeah, those are actually pretty different. All right. I'm liking how this is moving. God, I'm liking this. Another fleet picture. I'm going to have to switch that out because I can't have two fleet pictures. That's just kind of redundant. So I'm liking that. What happens if we take it down to 50%? How does that feel? So that's starting to feel bad because we're losing all the definition of what stuff is going on. So I think 75% is the winner here. And what do I need to do? What happens if I take these to 75? Then it starts making the white icons less visible. All right. So let's go to 50. 50% seems to be decent. Let's do that one whole. Yeah, that reads pretty good. Beluga. Ah, shit, that's timer. All right, my guys. But yeah, this is coming along nicely. I think we're going to be able to work with this. Probably make that a scatter. So let's call this done for now. I think I like how this framing is looking in general. If you got any comments about it, be welcome to drop them in the comments down below. Hit me on Twitter if you want at Phil Kearney, or if you know where I lurk on Discord, be welcome to reach out to me that way. Let me know if you think this looks good. I think I'm liking it. I just want to make sure that I'm doing it properly. Yeah. All right, that's it for now, guys. I'm going to be back tonight to do some Eberron artwork, and that's going to happen in about 10 hours at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Seattle time. We'll be back. In 10 hours from now, we're going to do some more Eberron character art, and we'll be back, and we'll be working on more Spelljammer work in the morning. Tomorrow morning and through Friday, and then on Saturday we'll be back doing the book cover. Tuesday at lunch tomorrow we're going to have episode 3 of converting the Battle Master into a mana system for the Martial Powers project. Make sure you show up to check that out, and that preview of that playtest document is live on Google Docs that you can access through my Patreon account at Phil Kearney, because everything I do is Phil Kearney. Yeah, here you go, Patreon. And I've been working on this. Here's a little article that I built about traversing cities without a map. A color comparison document that I've started for looking at Eldraine monsters. The 4 tiers of play. Here you go, playtest content for martial powers. You can click into that. Here's the YouTube stream of production that we have each Tuesday, and here's the playtest document. So this is all stuff that you can access without actually being a Patreon, a patron of my channel. But if you think this stuff is cool, I invite you to get involved, and I appreciate your support. So that's it for now, guys. Anyway, I'm done for the day. So I'll see you guys tonight in 10. Laters.